Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. We are Group 3, and we'll be discussing the impact of peer pressure and eating behaviors based on recent research. The study explains the psychological factors driving individuals to adapt certain eating habits under social influence. We'll explain the key findings related to them, to the theories like self-determination theory and reflect on the implications of our personal life and behavior. And let's get begin. So this is my first slide. The study, and that's the overview of our presentation. The study looks at how our inner motivation affect the way we act, especially when it comes to ending. It focuses on how peer pressure influence our eating habits. The research found that people change their behavior for different reasons. Sometimes they want to get fit, and sometimes because of it makes them value and identify. So peer pressure can lead to healthy or unhealthy eating depending on what's driving the person inside. And here is a small experiment. In this research, scientists test on rats. They were firstly trained while thirsty to run a pathway for food, but they didn't get water during the phase. Later, some rats were tested while hungry to see if they would still run the pathway. The key idea for this was to find out whether behavior learned under motivation would carry over of difference. Now, my friend Rohan will take over.
Hello everyone. As Akashdeep explained about our experiment and our overview, how our slides are and how our presentation is gonna be. So now I'm gonna talk about the key findings and how peer pressure leads to the motivation pathways in eating behavior. As the study examined how peer pressure influence eating behaviors through different types of motivation, it found that when peer pressure activates external or introjected motivation driven by rewards, approval, or guilt, it can increase the risk of binge eating, which can lead to people living an unhealthy life and gain acceptance or avoid disapproval. Uh, in contrast, when peer pressure uh, encourages unidentified motivations, a more autonomous form where individual values internalize the behavior. It supports healthy eating habits. But on the other hand, if the peer pressure itself determines the behavior, but the type of motivation triggers it, it can be control motivation, which can lead to unhealthy unhealthy lifestyle and unhealthy behavior, which can also lead us to guilt and external rewards, where we look for external rewards from other people and we accept guilt in everything, the way how we look and whatever we do. While autonomous motivations, it leads to positive habits. It moves on personal values and choices, which reflects the broader psychological principles where motivation pathways, whether for eating, achievement, or social belonging, play a central role in behavior outcomes. And in the next slide, I'm gonna talk about how it connects to the social determination theory that is explained and introduced us to in Myers chapter 11, which is SDT, the short form, and the full form is self determination theory, which emphasizes the quality of our motivation, whether it's autonomous or controlled. There are many more types of motivations, but today I'm just going to talk about autonomous and control, which shapes both our behavior and our well being. Autonomous behavior or autonomous motivation, uh, it acts out like a personal values and choice, which leads to better outcomes, achievements, satisfactions, and healthier behavior in our lives, in our day to day lifestyle, or as we see in the experiment. Whether the controlled motivation where the rats were led to eat and sleep and they were controlled by the scientist, which led them to have increased the which led to increase the likelihood of maladaptive outcomes where they like to eat binge eating and eat even without if they were not hungry, and which leads to which leads to the controlled motivation, which proves that part. Whereas this also directly supports course objectives on how social influence and motivation drives human behavior. It can also ties it into core psychological needs such as affiliation, where we have a desire for connection and achievement, where we have to pursue our goals, and which can lead us to uh, which kind of explains peer pressure isn't inherently harmful, but it impacts depends on how individuals internalize it, or when social influence is impaired or paired with autonomy, it can promote positive and lasting behavior change. And as I explained about the social determination theory and the experiment, now Nimrat is gonna take over and explain about how hormones play a key point and into this emotion. Now, Nimrat.
Hello, everyone. So, I'll be talking how hunger isn't just a willpower, it's a hormone battle. On the one side, we have ghrelin. So, from your empty stomach, it screams, eat now. And then the orexin in the brain, it triggers the food searches. These are our hunger hormones. But our body also has the stop signals. The fat cells, they release the leptin, our natural appetite suppressant, telling the brain you've got enough energy. And then after the meals, the gut sends PYY hormones, I am full signal, the ones that helps you put down the fork. And this explains why the crash diet backfires. When the fat drops, leptin rises, making the person hungrier. And then there's another good news, the protein, it boosts the PYY hormone that helps, uh, and also the sleep, it helps to lower the ghrelin. And these small changes, they reimbalance the hormone levels. And now, what if I told you that your hunger controls the grades? This same science, it applies on like the reason why some students they blank out during the exams when they're hungry. Because starvation, the research proves that starvation it lowers the blood glucose levels and destroys the focus. And those who don't think about anything but food, and the brain starts behaving the same way during the final week. We have a cheat code here. The slow burning protein like eggs or Greek yogurt with fiber rich berries 30 minutes before the studying. It will help you keep the gelatin hormone quiet for a few hours. Means no hunger and full focus. And that's why you need to eat smarter. And here's a life hack. So we eat what we see. And if we are gonna have a smaller plate, we are gonna eat small portions. On the other side, if a person has a big plate, like going to a buffet, having a lot more options, of course the person's gonna eat more. That's gonna destroy the whole diet thing. So, what should we do? Just swap your 12-inch dinner plate with some 9-inch salad plate. This will help you uh, eating less and having more protein and make your diet a balanced diet. So, next time you're doing a meal prep, just ask yourself, am I feeding my body or just my eyes? And your hormones and grade, they are gonna thank you. And now my friend Utku, he'll explain you furthermore.
Hi everyone, to conclude our presentation about peer pressure, so whether we like it or not, the influence of others is powerful. Sometimes it pushes us to grow, other times it leads us down paths we later regret. So what can we do about it? And what can we learn from it? First, we can choose to surround ourselves with friends who support us without judgment. The people we spend time with matter. If our circle encourages us to be our best selves, we are more likely to thrive. Second, we need to learn how to say no, especially when faced with unhealthy habits. It's not easy, especially when those habits are normalized by our peers. But saying no isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It means we are acting in alignment with our values. We must also remember this. Our choices should reflect what we value, not what others expect. Living for the approval of others is exhausting and unsustainable. Instead, we should focus on pleasing ourselves, on building a life that aligns with our goals, not someone else's. That means choosing supportive friends over those who judge or pressure us. It means developing the confidence to resist peer pressure and stand firm in our beliefs. Because in the end, it's our life, and we are the ones who must live with the consequences of our decisions, good or bad. Peer pressure may be real, but it doesn't have to control us. Here's the key takeaway: peer pressure isn't inherently harmful. Its impact depends on how we internalize it. When we maintain our autonomy, our ability to choose freely, social influence can actually lead to positive, lasting change. The difference lies in whether we are following others blindly or using that influence as motivation to grow on our own terms. So let's make our choices with intention. Let's support one another, and more importantly, let's support ourselves. Thank you for listening our presentation.
So as Utku explained, and that's how we conclude our presentation today. And as Nimrat explained how hormones, and Akash explained about the experiment, and Utku explained about how we can help each other out to increase or help each other out to decrease our peer pressure, and we can support each other out, and we can help each other out in the psychological battle in which the people can save each other and not let anyone fall into the bad habits of binge eating, and we can support people to go into not go into depression, and if we are there for their support, which will help us out. And that's how we conclude, and we are really thankful that we got the opportunity to present today. Thank you.